Hello, mate.
Hello,
Happy
Jimmy.
Sunday. Happy Sunday, mate.
How
How
are
are
you,
you,
mate?
mate? You've
Yeah,
got
good, mate. Happy Sunday.
you've got palm trees behind you, mate. Where are you?
Mate, I'm in lovely Port Douglas, Jimmy. So here for my brother-in-law's wedding, and which was last night, and yeah, a really nice night, a beautiful place to have a wedding, and we had probably about 120 people fly down, which is quite impressive. But look, my brother-in-law's the type of person that he's looked after everyone over many many years. He's a very good bloke, and hence why everyone has made the effort and the trip down to this beautiful place. So yeah, very very nice.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate. You couldn't have picked a better week to be away. Um,
Oh, yeah.
Friday was cold, and yesterday was absolutely freezing. I drove out the door yesterday morning at 7 a.m. and I was driving to work, Andrew, and the hail started coming down, and I thought, oh, I'm going to get hail damage again, like I did last year. But luckily I didn't. But during the night, on Friday night, at about 1 a.m., from 1 a.m., the amount of rain, the downpour that came down, my goodness, I reckon I was woken up every hour and a half. It just bucketed down. But yesterday was one of those days, Andrew. We were out on the field. It was cold, but people were out and about. And we'll share some numbers later. But my goodness, out in the cold, but it was great. It was a good day. We had a strong day yesterday with 7 out of 7 auctions scheduled for this week, all selling. But we started the week off, Andrew, on the back of the previous Saturday, where I can't remember now. I think we might have had 7 or 8 auctions and we passed 2 in. But 2 of those properties, the 2 properties that passed in, we knew that the activity was there. And they both sold during the week, and one of them sold on Monday night.
Yeah, definitely. 10 Benjamin Court in Sydney. We passed that property in at 660.
Yep.
We then opened the property up on Monday, which we normally typically do if the property doesn't sell on Saturday. We opened it up, had 4 groups go through, 2 new buyers ended up getting involved and making offers, ended up selling that for 675. So an extra 15 grand than what we obviously passed in on Monday, which is a really good result. And the buyers are thrilled. So yeah, and the vendors obviously again, they trusted the process. Obviously, would have loved to have got it done on Saturday, but wasn't meant to be. And yeah, and worked out on Monday night, was all done and dusted.
That worked out really well. And 91 Catherine Drive in Hillside, another one that got passed in the previous Saturday, that one ended up selling on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely. So that property there actually quite interesting. So numbers were actually quite low during the course of the campaign. We touched on this last week. We're quoting that 7 to 750, and we always tell buyers that listen, because typically speaking, a buyer will see a range and they always think it's going to sell for a lot more, and that's not always the case. And this is a prime example. We're quoting that property 7 to 750. Obviously, didn't sell on Saturday. Then a buyer that missed out on a property in Taylor's Lakes. We suggested this property to them because they're looking for an investment property. We showed the home to them on Monday. They then brought the family through on Tuesday, and then we end up selling the home on Wednesday to that buyer for 745,000. So that's a typical example of a property selling within the quote range, and of course to a buyer that missed out on a home on Saturday as well. So a great result there too.
Yeah, look, solid result. And again, it reinforces where, I saw a post from one of the advocates on Facebook yesterday that was exactly about that point, that you really got to have your hat in the ring and go and look at the property and make your own judgment based on everything else that you've been looking at. So that was great. And then also we started off with this week's auctions then, Andrew. We had our first auction scheduled for the week, was scheduled for Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. Gorgeous property at 42 Piermont Terrace in Taylor's Hill. And that ended up receiving a super strong offer on the Monday. Tell us about that one.
Yes, Jim, spot on. A beautiful single level home in a superb pocket of Taylor's Hill. Same thing, to be honest. It was a buyer from Taylor's Lakes that missed on a home in Golden Way in Taylor's Lakes, a beautiful family. Wasn't really looking to venture out to Taylor's Hill, they were looking to buy around Taylor's Lakes. They obviously kept on missing out properties in Taylor's Lakes. So we suggested this property to them. They viewed the property a couple of times and then gave us a super strong offer, just based on obviously other homes that he's been to auctions for, and that sold for 965,000. So a really strong offer on that property and a great result as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And then we headed into yesterday, Andrew, and we had another couple of properties that we actually negotiated beforehand. Sash did a great job with Unit 1 at 43 Pex Road in Sydenham. That sold in the second week of its campaign at 490,000. And then Tony and Mike Sassine from our Glasson Park office were managing a property, a beautiful, beautiful property at 32 Prince Albert Crescent in Taylor's Lakes, one of my favourite pockets. As we know, I keep saying that. But that was really interesting because the property was on the market for a couple of weeks or 2.5 weeks. And one of the neighbours, I think it was the mother-in-law, coming up from Essendon, wanted to get there, be close by. Obviously, the perfect buy for the property, regardless of the number of people that would show through the home. So they knew the drill. They knew that they wanted the property and they wanted to make sure that they got it. So the fact that they also knew the neighbours, they'd sort of spoken that they really wanted to buy it. Our guys negotiated the deal. We did the ring around after receiving a really strong offer, and that sold beforehand for $1,160,000. A really good result. Yeah, fantastic. And then, Andrew, we went into yesterday's auctions, and you were watching from afar. It was quite bizarre, actually, because they were all...
You called me for a little while there, Jimmy. I saw you smile. It was actually like the room just lit up when you were calling the auction, Jimmy. So
it's like riding a bike. You don't forget, mate. And you know how much I love doing auctions. It's just that you've been doing a lot of them lately, so I miss out on the opportunity. I have to pencil for you, but I love getting out on the field. And we started off yesterday at 22 Hannah Avenue in Hillside. Absolutely wonderful bloke, beautiful vendor, moving to Gippsland, back to the original family home. This property presented beautifully. It one owner home, 24 years he's been there, has really kept the home in beautiful condition. We ended up doing the auction under the pergola, Andrew, because it was quite bizarre. Right on 11 o'clock, we went to go out the front. There were blue skies. And then all of a sudden, this rain came from, I don't know where, man. They were blue skies. So I said to everyone, come on, let's get it under the pergola. We've got a long day ahead. I don't feel like getting drenched right now. So that sold really, really strongly. We had multiple bidders there. And I can't remember what price we went on the market at with that one.
640,000.
640, yeah, okay, that's right. And so we announced it on the market at 640, competitive bidding, and ended up selling for a really healthy 726,000, which just delighted the vendors. Beautiful family bought the home. Really disappointing for some of the ones that missed out. There's a young girl that's been looking for a little while, her and her partner, and I know her dad, and we did business together 20 odd years ago, and they've been coming along to auctions and missing out. And not that they haven't been doing their homework, they have. It's just that they've been missing out. The property's been selling for more. But we'll certainly get her a property. That's no issue. But that one sold well. And then from there, Andrew, another wonderful, wonderful, wonderful vendor, Della, beautiful lady, Della Rodriguez. We went to her place, which was her first home at 30 Sunningdale Drive, a compact home, Simmons home, some 8 years old, on a 375 square metre block. And what you probably couldn't see on the video, Andrew, was we pulled into the street, and I'm thinking, man, there's nowhere to park, right? The street was packed, right? And so I ended up parking in the driveway. And I hate parking in the driveway. But what it was, there was a big Macedonian wedding, a few houses away in the little court. So you could see all the hotted up cars with the wedding ribbons. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be, if the drums come out and the clarinets and all the music.
I would have thought we organised the gym.
They would have, but we ended up with a really great crowd there, Andrew, on that one. 6 bidders there as well. And we set the reserve at, after consulting with the vendor, you set it remotely at 5:30, I think.
That one there, 5:30, correct.
Yeah. And she was just over the moon. She was ecstatic. The property sold for $610,000. Young couple bought it. Nervous as hell. They were actually at the auction of Hannah in the morning to watch the process. They came along there, they bid confidently, they had plenty of competition, and they bought it. The other thing that you couldn't see, Andrew, when you were watching it from afar, the minute we said sold and got the people inside, the drums came out. the music came out, the dancing in the street came out, the bottles of what do they call that stuff?
Rakia.
Rakia. The rakia came out. And I said to one bloke who was driving out, I said, mate, I've just invited everybody to come along to the wedding. He said, yeah, come. They wanted the crowd of 60 people to come along.
Well, Della actually joined them after the results she had. So
she did.
Yeah,
she did.
Her and her friends went down the road and had a couple of rakias with them as well and whatnot. I spoke to Della last night. She sounded like she had a bit of a headache. I wouldn't blame her. So, lovely lady.
Yeah, beautiful lady. She was delighted. And then from there, we had a little bit of a break, which gave us time to grab a quick coffee. And then we went to Unit 1 of 13, Jade Way in Hillside. And again, lovely family, beautiful family. Your vendors there, gorgeous people. They were as nervous as hell, Andrew. They were really nervous. But more importantly, it was the battle of the first home buyers. And we had one young fellow really wanted to buy the property. His father happens to be in real estate, works for another company in another area, but was there. I recognised his face, introduced myself, had a bit of a chat with him. The young girl that ultimately bought it had her grandfather by her side. So her mum and dad, her granddad and grandma, and a young girl, Renee, beautiful girl. And granddad, experienced property professional. He sat there, he had a plan, and they ended up securing it, and that sold for $560,000. And they're just delightful people. They, best of luck to them. She's going to love living there. Great floor plan, the absolute perfect start. And I actually said to the granddad, Andrew, I shook his hand afterwards, and I said, I really admire and respect the fact that you're in a position to be able to assist your grandkids. I only hope I can do the same one day. It was wonderful.
Yeah, spot on, Jim. Lovely girl. Dario was been dealing with her for a little while and shopping her around a few houses. And this is the one that she wanted. She actually saw the property before it went onto the market.
Yeah.
She was interested, although we just made the decision based on what our vendors would like to do to go to open market just to make sure we caught the entirety of the market. And she was there at auction day and she bought it. So, great job to Dario as well for helping that lovely lady buy her first home.
And, that's the other side of it, right? Young first home buyer, young rookie salesperson, who's started with us a couple of months ago and is learning the ropes and is doing a great job. He's a wonderful kid. We're really, really happy with the way Dario's progressing and you're training him beautifully. So well done to him. Yeah. And then an hour later, Andrew, the last auction of the day, one of Lass's properties. Now, this one was really interesting. It was supposed to be auctioned on the 29th in another 2 weeks. So it's been on the market for 2 weeks, had massive numbers through the door. So on Thursday, Lass, after consulting with the vendors, they decided to bring the auction forward for 2 weeks. Really, to be fair to the buyers, because we had multiple buyers saying, we want to make an offer. The vendor's instructions were clear. We're not taking offers. We want to auction our home. So we thought, well, why wait another 2 weeks? There's plenty of interest. Let's bring it forward. Lass brought it forward. He was very ably assisted by Cinzia and Michael Costa out there yesterday. And they did a fantastic job selling that property for a really strong $715,000. It actually sets a new benchmark for a home of that size on that size land in Delahey. So
probably last because it's always as an agent, you're going to make a decision whether or not to bring it forward. Do you let it run an extra week or whatnot? But when you've got, as you said before, a few buyers knocking on the door and the vendor's obviously comfortable with the auction process, yes, you got to make sure you get back to all the buyers and whatnot. So behind the scenes, a lot of people don't actually realise how much work it is actually bringing an auction forward. So good job to Lass there as well.
Yeah, no, great job. And Andrew, just to give you a wrap on the numbers and to whoever's watching, we know we have a lot of your clients follow these videos and watch what's happening. There's been a lot of talk in the last couple of weeks about the market sort of leveling off. What we do know is that, yes, there was a bit of a frenzy and we were seeing frenetic bidding and strong competition. But people have got to remember that a lot of the decisions on what to pitch a property at are based on results that are historical. And so there's a little bit of science in it, but But what we're starting to see, and we've seen it certainly during April, is a lift in volumes in stock. And we've always been saying, Andrew, that, you know, low stock levels, high competition creates, you know, extra demand and strong results. Now, reality is that we have seen the numbers stabilise somewhat. However, we're still seeing massive, massive numbers coming through. Well, I mean, just this week, a cold week, a changing week. Just to give you a rundown, we had during the week through our open homes. Now, this doesn't count our private inspections, and I'm not including our group, our St Albans office's numbers. This is purely and simply Taylor's Lake's numbers. 98 inspections, or 98 groups of people attended our opens midweek, 154 groups yesterday. So it gives us 252 groups that have come through our open homes just this week. Big numbers, right? There's still big numbers. So there's still a strong appetite. We've still got a situation where supply is exceeding demand.
Yep.
And whilst we've seen a bit of a lift in volume, there is still stronger demand than what there is property. And you know yourself, Andrew, you know, a property still needs to be targeted correctly. If it needs to be adjusted based on feedback, it has to be adjusted based on feedback. But there are a number of variables that need to be taken into account. The presentation of the property, the comparable data, the way you market it, the way you work on it, and taking into account the feedback from buyers to relay that. Yeah,
Jim, spot on. You know, going back to one of the results on Saturday in Sunningdale Drive.
Yeah.
You know, this vendor obviously still interviewed a few agents out there and whatnot. And the property, you know, was rented to a friend, and obviously before she put on the market, and needed a paint job, you know, a bit of, you know, landscaping, and you know, obviously it was empty, so it needed furniture.
Yeah.
And the one thing with me, which a lot of my vendors already know the way I operate, whether I put the home on the market today or in 3 months' time, it doesn't bother me. As long as the home is presented correctly and we know we're going to get a great result moving forward, that's more important to me than putting the home on the market today because it's not ready. And all the other agents were talking about, you know, it's fine. The first home buyers, you know, there's heaps of buyers in the marketplace. They're not going to worry about it. They're going to paint it anyway, and all that kind of, you know, typical lingo that they'll say. And I sat down with Della. I said, yes, I agree that buyers might come and paint it. They might look at it and say, yeah, you know what, they can see what it is in regards to it's empty and whatnot. They can picture it themselves with their own furniture. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure it's presented correctly. Let's just quickly, you know, when I say quickly, give it a nice fresh paint job, get some nice furniture in it. That way they want to buy walks in, they can see that the home's been looked after and it's presented correctly. And they can picture themselves actually moving into the home. And they can always see, okay, this is where the living area is, this is where the family room is, and so forth, the meals area. You know, backyard, we re-spruced it up, you know, paint the concrete and whatnot. Rather than making it look like an ex-rental property, so to speak, I think presentation is really, really important. But again, we have to take our time and guide our vendors in doing that, because it's just as easy for us to say, you know what, the house is ready to go, you know, the house is going to sell anyway. But look at the difference it made for the result. You know, a home selling for 610,000. You know, that is actually a new benchmark for a home of that size as well. So we appreciate our vendors trusting us in that process.
Yeah, look, absolutely, and like we say, you know, there's three parts to the process. You know, whether and it doesn't. I'm talking about auctions specifically. You know, you've got your sold before, sold on the day, sold after. But if everything's done right, you want to give yourself the best opportunity to get the best outcome, and you only get one chance to do it. So, and sometimes it means investing some money, just like Della did. You know, she spent money on the property, but at the same time, it's an 8-9-year-old home. It's at the point where it needs a freshen up anyway. So your choice is freshen it up and try to maximise your returns, or allow people to chop price off because they want to do it, right?
Correct. So, and that's what they're going to do anyway. You know, you know, it's when you look at the scheme of things, the price, right? You know, to invest $5,000-7,000, you know, freshening up new paint, you know, getting the stylist down and so forth. Realistically, after 10 years having the property, you know, you got to look at it and say, well, you know, you haven't spent any money in those years, so might as well, again, do it now and she reap the rewards. So just an example of a lot of people out there that are thinking of selling. You know, these are little things that we can do. And we do give advice to our clients in regards to, before we go to market, what to actually improve on as well.
It makes sense. Now, mate, we've been chatting for a while. You've got another couple of days of enjoying 28-degree heat, and we're stuck here in Melbourne. How's the tan, by the way? I noticed your son Christian's tan is gone another level, hasn't it?
He has, Jim. He is, mate. He's got he's the best tan I've ever seen. This kid. He's loving it, you know. So good to get away with a few days with the family. The boys are doing a terrific job back in Melbourne, and Christian, Isla, and Lisa are having a good time with their friends and family because it's obviously Lisa's brother's wedding. So she's got a lot of her uncles and aunties here as well, so they're enjoying it. The weather couldn't be any better, but we look forward to a massive week ahead. We've got 8 auctions coming up this week, Jimmy. So, and
do you want to do a quick run through of what's coming up?
Yeah, we've got 170 Lady Nelson Way in Tallis Lakes, which Sasha's handling that. That's a beautifully renovated single-level home as well. 32 Beatties Road in Hillside, another single story, only a few years old. That is going to auction the same time as Lady Nelson. 10 Zemmet Lane in Hillside, a lovely double-story townhouse. It's a great investment opportunity. First home buyers out there. 5 Hanslow in Tallis Lakes. That's a gorgeous home. In-ground swimming pool as well. So Lass is handling that listing there, and that's had really good numbers as well. So look forward to seeing that result there in Tallis Lakes. 36 Shoppers Lane. Tony's handling that. It's a 2-bedder, I believe, Jim.
Yeah, great 2-bedroom unit. Right next to the original Tallis Lake Shopping Centre. Perfect. Downsizer or first home opportunity or investment.
Yep, and 16 Kiev Walk in Delahey. Lass is going to set another new benchmark in Delahey by the looks of it. So he's got a few runners there. So good luck to Lass and obviously all the buyers there. 2 Fiat Court in Keilor Downs. That's had absolutely ridiculous numbers.
Great.
So well done, Michael Costa, on running a great campaign out there in Keilor Downs. So look forward to seeing that result there. And 5 Edward Court in Tallis Hill. Just a nice family home, 4 bedrooms and a study. Needs a bit of updating and whatnot, but it's a gorgeous pocket of Tallis Hill right next to Gilson's College there. So look forward to getting a great result out there in Tallis Hill.
Yeah, fantastic. You're right, Andrew. We've got another strong week coming up, and then another week, the week after, I think we jump up to 10 auctions for the 29th. So we've still got another 18 to put through the system in the next 2 Saturdays to finish May off. And we're looking forward to that with some great selection of properties for people.
Yeah, definitely. And that's about it, Jimmy. So I think it's time to jump in the pool. What do you reckon, Jim?
Mate, you go and hit the pool. I'm actually going to do some gardening. So I'm going to potter around. Not that I've got much garden, but the little bit of garden that I've got, I noticed a couple of weeds. So I'm going to go and get rid of those. So, mate, you stay well. Enjoy the next few days up in the north of Australia. And we'll see you when you're back in the office, and we'll see everybody else very, very soon.
Yeah, look forward to it, Jim. And thanks for the team as well over the last few days for obviously assisting. It's been obviously incredible to have a really strong team behind you as well. So thanks to the boys. Well, and thanks to our vendors, and look forward to a massive week ahead. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. What's the weather like out there, Jim, actually? I don't know.
Mate, it's hang on, let me have a look. It's I'm upstairs in the study. Mate, it's cloudy, overcast. Haven't been outside, a little bit fresh, I would think, but it is what it is. We've got to
enjoy the weekend.
And then we're off to a 30+1 birthday for a friend's son who couldn't do it last year. So they've got a luncheon on today. So we'll go and do that. Stay well.
Happy birthday. Enjoy, everyone. Have a good weekend, and we'll speak to you next week.
See you, mate.
See you guys. Bye-bye.